Making sauerkraut for good probiotics.
Hello and welcome to the Philippines. Today I'm going to be doing a cooking show. Actually, I'm going to be making sauerkraut, and I believe I have about 2 kilograms of cabbage here. Pretty fresh cabbage, 2 big heads of green and one of kind of a purple cabbage I found. And I'm going to be shredding it, cutting it up. I don't have a food processor to do this yet, so it is me and a knife, and maybe I'll try a couple other items, see if I can get that shredded relatively smooth. Once I have it all in here, I'm going to add some sea salt. Do not add water. I just bought this little container because the 2 videos I watched on YouTube said do not use a metal pan, and I'm not quite certain why, but it says not to use a metal pan. So I bought this larger Tupperware type of container, and I'm going to put all of this into here, shredded, add some sea salt, mash it up real good, and I'll show you the process as I go along. I'm not going to bore you by cutting all this up on video, and then I've seen different things online about how long it should wait to ferment, and I believe about 3 weeks is probably the best. Some people say 1 week, some people 2, some people 4. So I've done it once so far. This is my second attempt, and I'll check it at a couple of weeks, and then we'll go from there. I bought this, I think, for 99 pesos, about $2 at the 99 peso or the peso store, and it is sharp. First thing I did was cut my finger on it a few weeks ago, and that's healed up now. But it is very sharp and makes this job go faster. The preference of how fine you cut these up is your preference. If you had a food processor, you could make quick work of this. If I remember properly, we want to use about, I've got some Himalayan sea salt here, and I want about 1.5 tablespoons of that. I believe in that amount, and then when I cut up the other head, I will add another tablespoon and a half, and then you start you just work it. You knead it like bread. You knead it, and this large amount will turn into a much smaller amount, and the water will produce its own water as that salt helps to draw the water out of the cabbage. And that's all the water. You will top it off with water. And what I did the first time I made this, I topped it off with water. I shook it up a little bit, but not enough, because as I was eating my sauerkraut, I noticed it was getting saltier as I got towards the bottom. After you've kneaded that cabbage and got the salt distributed somewhat evenly, use something like this, a old-fashioned potato smasher, or whatever you want to call it, and just start working it. Again, the purpose is to draw a lot of the water, to reduce it down a bit, and too much in it to do that, so I'll do a layer at a time. So I have reduced that by at least 1/3 of what it was, probably more than that, and you may be able to see there it's developing its own brine, the water that comes out of that's extracted from the cabbage as the salt and the hammering on it. And I looked all over for it to potato smasher. I bought this cheap little, only one I could find, a cheap little plastic one. First thing that happened was the handle broke off. So I tried using this here, which didn't work very good. So I went to a spoon until I find myself a good industrial style potato smasher, and it's doing a pretty good job. And I am banging away on this and letting it sit, and then I'm stirring it up and continuing to do it for a while until I get part of the purpose of this is to get the brine that you want to use, to extract it from the cabbage. You can use that and the sea salt as your brine as much as possible. And then I will be adding that to filling this here jar up, hopefully. And I'm told that that should last in your refrigerator for many, many months, and I will eat it before that. So that is the first large green and smaller red cabbage, and I don't have it packed down in there yet. I topped the water off just a little bit, and that is sitting in mostly its own brine. Shook it up, stirred it up, and I will compress that. I will press it down after I finish with this. A cutting board and a sharp knife made quick work of that. And that is the second large, close to 1 kilogram head of lettuce. I've added a tablespoon and a half of sea salt, and now I'm going to go about kneading it with my hands, and then extracting as much as the brine as I can out of it, and then we'll add that to the jar, and I'll get back to you after that.
I once famously said that good gut bacteria, good probiotics for your gut is the key to a healthy life and healthy body and healthy mind. Someone once said that many of the diseases start in the digestive tract. And making fermented vegetables is one way to provide your body, your digestive system, with the good bacteria, the good probiotics and prebiotics that your system needs to stay healthy. Maybe I didn't say that famously. Maybe it was somebody else.
Now it seems that I have estimated everything that I needed. I mixed in a little extra water and mixed it up to make sure it was all the same percentage of brine with the salt in it. I emptied 2 of these after I reduced them down into this jar here, and it is pretty much full with brine right at the top. And this is an anaerobic process, which means you don't want air getting into your product. So I use some of these leaves. I use a couple pieces of the core of the cabbage, and we will place these down along the sides to hold everything down in there. You don't want, it's not oxygen, you don't want oxygen getting in there. And a couple pieces of core in there that will hold that down. And put one more over there just to make sure everything stays under there. Just to make sure it stays under there. And one more piece there for good measure to hold everything down. Brings the water right up to the top, the brine. Now this is going to be giving off gas, so I close it and then I back it off a little ways so the gas can escape. Don't want the cap blowing off here. And then I'm going to set it aside, and I'll take a look at it in about a week or so and taste it a week and a half, 2 weeks. But my experience is that probably 3 weeks works best for me. Depends upon the taste that you prefer. And that's something that tastes completely different than the sauerkraut you get with vinegar in it. And the vinegar kills the good bacteria. One of the main reasons you make this is to get the good probiotics to help your digestion and your health.
I've been making my own dill pickles for a couple of years now, and the most difficult thing is finding the best type of pickle, cucumber, to make the dill pickles with. But I like that, and that'll be one of my next projects. I saw a video about cabbage and sauerkraut. I'd been buying German old-fashioned sauerkraut at S&R, and I thought I was probably getting the real thing. But it is the stuff with vinegar in it, so you don't have much in the way of probiotics. So I made one batch of this. I liked it. Much different than what you get with the vinegar batch. And we'll see how that turns out here in another 2.5 weeks or so. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Safe travels to you all wherever you're at, and I'll see you next time.